What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review for Ready to Love, season 8, episode 8. I think I don't even know anymore. On my DVR, it has like some crazy number, so I know that's not accurate. But we're almost at the end, so I feel like this is episode 8. They're going on a trip next week, and then I feel like it's the finale. I don't know at this point, but this is the episode where they meet the friends. So the ladies are in charge, and so the ladies are going to take their top picks to meet their friends and let their friends grill the guys. So at this point, for the exception of Aries and Phil, there really are no clear connections. So, well, no, Quentin and Janelle. So now I have to kind of go through all of this and let you know who went out with who, because some of these couples, I was like, huh? Where's the connection? When do we see anything? So I really feel like this is, if there was ever a season for a double elimination. I know they did a double elimination with the guys, but I feel like they needed a double elimination with the girls because we just don't have no connections. And a couple of these ladies, like the fact that some of these ladies, I don't even be remembering they on the show. So the first one was Kat and her best friend, who they call Allie, and so they had this whole Alley Cat thing, which was cute. Philip and Herbert. Um, Phil don't have no connection with Kat. Like, he there just to be there. There really is no real connection there, and the friend wasn't really feeling it. With Herbert, the friend wasn't really feeling Herbert either, because the friend felt like Herbert, wasn't really answering the questions, wasn't really being specific or direct in his answers, and so she just wasn't really impressed with either one of them. But if she had to pick one, she was gonna pick Phil over Herbert, but she wasn't impressed with either one, honestly. Y'all, this ain't gonna take long because this wasn't that much of an episode, child. So then we had Aries with Phil and Chris. Now, Aries felt her closest connection to Phil, but she liked Chris. So the friends met them. But the friends, she said that, after with her friends asking certain questions and her getting certain answers, she said Chris actually started becoming the front runner because it seemed like they were more aligned as far as their desires and their ambition. But her heart, her emotions were still connected to Phil. So Phil was saying how, he's kind of struggled in the career area. He's had to reinvent himself a couple of times, and how that's been, a humbling experience for him. I feel like it was a nice way of saying, I've tried this entrepreneur thing and it didn't work out. Which, listen, entrepreneurship is not easy. People make it look easy because, I will never forget, I read a post one time from Diddy, and Diddy said people don't post their failures. So when you see an entrepreneur being successful, ask them, but how many businesses did you try first? Like, was this your first business and it just became successful? Because if that's the case, then they're lucky. That's not the average story for an entrepreneur. So it's nothing wrong with wanting to be an entrepreneur, but it's important to understand that entrepreneurship is not easy. Aries felt like Chris was, I don't know, maybe a little more stable, a little more, I don't know, she just felt like that was more conducive. But again, she walked away, I think, a little bit more confused because, again, she really likes Phil more than Chris. But Chris is still in the running, child. Chris is still in the running. So then we had Janelle went with her best friend with Quentin and Herbert. And again, Quentin had all the right answers, and Herbert didn't. And it really came down to the fact that Herbert's timeline, Quentin was like, listen, I'm looking to get married. Like, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to proposing. I'm looking forward to, walking down the aisle. Like, that's what I see in my future. That's what I want. And he even said in his near future, right? Which, of course, is what made Janelle all happy. Herbert was like, look, I want to get married too, but my timeline just a little different. Like, it takes me a little bit of time. And Janelle was like, I mean, how long does it take for you to figure out you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody? Longer than a couple of weeks? I mean, she said she want to be engaged by the end of the year, so I know they filmed this like maybe spring of last year, late winter, early spring of last year. So you were talking 8 months, you were ready to be engaged. I think that is a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know everybody's timeline is different. Some people get engaged after 2 weeks. Some people get engaged after 2 years. Hell, some people get engaged after 10 years, okay? And the marriage that people met and got married in 2 weeks might last longer than the marriage of 10 years, okay? So it's really no rhyme or reason. And she's not wrong for having her standard. Let's be clear. If she says this is what I want, I tell people all the time, you have to have your non-negotiables. And if that is a non-negotiable for her, she's not wrong for that. But everybody might not be on her timeline. And there's that. You know, that's the flip side of that. That everybody might not be on her timeline. So yeah. So moving forward, who was the next people child? Then we had we had Lee and her best friend Muffin. And they were talking to Quentin. Now, Lee felt like Muffin got caught up in all the lusciousness that is Quentin. And she was getting all flustered. And she really didn't ask the important questions. And she didn't really ask the questions that Lee wanted her to ask. But she did like Quentin. And Lee was like, I mean, I like him too. But I ain't really getting no help. Like, you ain't really give me the insight that I was looking for. Okay? So then we have Sierra with Herbert and Marie. I don't mean no harm. I don't see Sierra having no real connection with either one of these people. I think she's just still there, so she got to go through the motions. And that's why I said that the women should have had a double elimination, because Sierra can go. I like her. I think she's funny. I think she's cute and quirky, and I love her fashion style. But she don't have no connection with none of these people. I just don't believe that. But Marie gives a great interview. Marie probably get every job he ever interviewed for, because he gives a great interview, okay? He answered all the questions perfectly. He was sitting there with Herbert. It wasn't hard to look better than her, because Herbert, once again, was flustered and fumbling over questions, right? He was fumbling over the questions, you know? And at the end of the day, of course, Sierra's friends felt like Marie, you know, was the better option. Then we have Jessica with Chris and Marie. And again, Chris is fumbling, because the first question that the friend asked was, so why do you feel like that Jessica is wife material? Baby, Chris couldn't answer the question. And Marie jumped right in. So then, you know, of course, once again, Chris had to talk about how he wanted that softer side, you know, that he understands that she's a boss, but he needs that softer side. And baby Marie was like, well, that's what I love. I love a forceful woman. I love a woman that I can match wits with. Like, of course, she's beautiful, baby, but I need to be challenged. I said, Marie, you know how to give a good answer to a question. You know how to give a good answer to a question. So Chris, you know, wasn't looking good for Mr. Chris. So the ladies get back into the lounge, and of course, you know, they got to have the conversations and recap everything to Tommy. And they give, basically, Herbert and Chris is in the bottom. Now, Tommy lets them know, look, you know, we still got to eliminate somebody. That's still going to happen. However, once you get done with that, go ahead and pack your bags, because we can already do our little overnight situation, our little weekend situation. So we see Chris and Herbert in the bottom, and they had Kat to go talk to Herbert, and then I think it was Kat. And then they had Aries to go talk to Chris. So I knew then, when they had Aries talk to Chris, I knew Chris wasn't the one eliminated, because, you know, that was one of her strongest connections. And I know sometimes they do that, but I just felt like she ain't about to send Chris home. Not after that conversation she just had with her friends and him kind of getting elevated. So Chris is still there. Herbert got sent home, and he was shocked. Like, he really was shocked that he got home. And I understand why he was shocked, because in his mind, he had like 3 connections. The problem was, all 3 connections were not impressed with your presentation over the last couple of weeks or dates, whatever. So yeah, Herbert, Herbert, I knew the nail was in your coffin when all the women said you were bad with communication and you ain't never called nobody back. I knew then. I said, because he not that into y'all. See, when somebody is into you, they will find time. They will make a way. They will step out of a meeting and say, baby, I only got a few minutes, but hey, what's going on? They will send a text, right? They'll say, look, I'm so sorry. You know, I know it's been a lot going on. Life has been crazy. Life has been lifing, but I just wanted to say hi. Like, people will find a way. And that don't mean every day, every time. That don't mean people don't fumble sometimes, because life does life sometimes. But for all them women to say it, tells me that he wasn't feeling none of them women like that. Because usually one of them, you keeping one of them balls in the air, right? You might, when you juggling, you might drop one or two, but one of them balls you still got in the air, and baby, you fumble. Okay. Anyway, that was it. Child, again, this season is uninspired because I just don't think that there's no real connections. Other than I do think that Janelle and Quentin are vibing, and I do think that Aries and Phil are vibing. But other than that, child, I don't see no other connection. So anyway, let me know what y'all think, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.